In a shocking revelation that's just been made, a set of startling pictures recently uncovered on the dark web has caused a stir among people interested in aliens. These shocking photos, allegedly leaked from top-secret government archives, show some of the clearest images of otherworldly beings and objects ever seen. Now, this has begun to raise questions about the true nature of our universe. Could these mysterious flying objects be visitors from other planets? Join us as we explore these alien photos just found on the dark web. Number 1. Aliens are real. In a surprising turn of events, some very strange pictures recently popped up on a hidden part of the internet called the dark web. These pictures, if they turn out to be real, show something truly mind-blowing. Aliens hanging out with humans right here on Earth. The images seem to have come from secret government files and show beings that look different from us. They have long bodies, huge heads, and skin that glows like it's from another world. While some individuals think these pictures are just fake photos made to trick people, experts are seriously discussing whether they might be real. They've looked closely at the pictures and haven't found any clear signs that they've been messed with, which has left a lot of experts scratching their heads. The shape of these alien figures is so strange that it doesn't match up with anything we know about how bodies are supposed to be. If these pictures turn out to be the real deal, it could change everything we know. We might have to rethink what we believe about life in the universe. People who study religion might have to figure out how these aliens fit into their beliefs. Society as a whole might have to think about what it means for us if we're not the only intelligent beings in the cosmos. But there are some doubts about these pictures. Some people wonder why such important evidence would be hidden away on the dark web instead of being shared openly with the world. This has led some people to wonder if there might be some sneaky reasons behind releasing these images. Despite these doubts, people all over the world are extremely interested in these pictures. They're thinking more about places like Area 51, where some believe the government hides information about aliens, and stories about UFOs and the famous Roswell incident are suddenly seeming more real. Until we know more about where these pictures came from, and if they're real, they're just adding to the mystery and excitement of what might be out there in the universe. Number 2. The shapeshifter individuals. In the shocking footage, we see Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago, talking at a press conference when something really strange happens to his eyes. They start to change, getting darker and bigger until they look like black balls. Thin covers slide over his eyes, like the inner eyelids of a reptile. After a few moments, his eyes go back to normal, leaving everyone in the room shocked. This video spread like wildfire online, getting more than 12 million views in just the first week. People had all sorts of ideas about what caused this strange eye transformation. Some thought it was just a glitch in the video, while others believed it was proof that Rahm Emanuel is a shape-shifting reptilian, as some stories suggest. Even though there's no clear answer for what happened in the video, some people think that maybe Emanuel didn't even realize his eyes were changing, suggesting that he might have briefly lost control of his human disguise. Scientists who study animals say that the eyelids we see in the video are similar to those of reptiles, which might have evolved to help them see underwater or protect their eyes while hunting. Rahm Emanuel has been the mayor of Chicago since 2011 and used to work closely with President Obama. Some people who believe in conspiracy theories think that powerful people like him are reptilian aliens who secretly rule the world. They point to other famous figures like Pope Francis and Tom Cruise, who have also been rumored to have strange eye behavior. But until there's more proof, the idea that these people are shape-shifting reptilians remains just a wild conspiracy theory. The idea that these people are shape-shifting reptiles is just a made-up story with no proof. But a strange video from Chicago City Hall has become a big deal online, leading to arguments between people who believe the story and those who don't. The truth about what happened is still a mystery. One famous incident that got a lot of attention involved General David Petraeus, a well-respected four-star general and former CIA director. He was giving a speech about his military experiences when something strange happened. He suddenly looked sick and had trouble standing up. As he tried to keep his balance, his face started to change in weird ways, almost like it was melting or shifting shape. Before anyone could do anything, he fell to the floor. The audience was shocked and confused, with some people shouting in panic. General Petraeus was quickly taken away for medical help, and experts studied the video of the incident. They confirmed that the strange changes in his face were not caused by any editing tricks, but they couldn't figure out exactly what caused it. Some people online suggested that Petraeus might be one of the rumored reptilian shapeshifters who are said to secretly run the world. According to this story, powerful leaders are aliens who can look human as long as they concentrate. They believe that Petraeus's collapse made him briefly show his true alien form. Medical experts, however, suggested more normal explanations, like Bell's palsy or temporary problems with blood flow to the brain. Skeptics thought that maybe the video just looked strange because of the way it was recorded or lit. Stories of people's faces changing shape have been told for a long time in folklore, often as a way to explain mysterious events. But without clear evidence, these stories are just guesses. To those who saw it, what happened to Petraeus was weird and hard to explain, leaving everyone with more questions than answers. Number 3. Multiple UFO sightings over Washington, D.C. In the 1940s. In the summer of 1952, something very strange happened in Washington, D.C. People started seeing things in the sky that they couldn't explain. They saw flying objects that weren't like any planes they knew. These objects moved fast and did tricks in the sky that no normal plane could do. At first, it was just blips on radar and strange lights in the sky. But as the summer went on, more and more people, including pilots, air traffic controllers, and even military pilots, reported seeing these confusing objects. These UFOs, or unidentified flying objects, were seen flying over the city at amazing speeds.
Is it a bird, a plane, or maybe a UFO? According to a new study, California tops the list for UFOs.
And doing maneuvers that seemed impossible. Even though the Air Force sent planes to try to catch these UFOs, they always managed to get away. This made people excited but also worried. The biggest event happened on July 19th, when radar at the airport saw 7 UFOs flying over the Capitol, which is a big no-fly zone. Fighter jets tried to catch them, but the UFOs disappeared, leaving everyone confused. The next weekend, thousands of people saw glowing groups of UFOs flying over famous places in D.C., causing panic and jamming emergency lines. Military planes chased them, but the UFOs vanished into the sky, leaving everyone puzzled and tired. Even though the Air Force said it was just tricks of the eye and weird air conditions, some groups still think the government is hiding something about these UFOs. 60 years later, people are still curious about what really happened, and if maybe aliens did visit Washington, D.C. Number 4. 6 soldiers encounter. Strange craft in the Korean War. During World War II and afterward, many soldiers reported seeing strange flying objects that they couldn't identify. These reports are an important part of UFO history and suggest that there might be technology out there that's way more advanced than what humans have. Some people even think these sightings mean that aliens are interested in watching what happens during our wars. One of the most interesting stories from this time comes from 6 American soldiers who had a terrifying encounter with something they couldn't explain. It happened in March 1951 near Gorman, Korea, where the soldiers were launching artillery attacks on enemy forces. While they were busy firing shells, they suddenly noticed a weird aircraft coming down from the sky and hovering silently near them. The craft was shaped like a saucer and had a strange purple glow. It didn't make any noise except for a faint humming sound. As the soldiers watched in shock, the confusing craft showed that it wasn't friendly. Without warning, it shot out a beam of purple light that instantly destroyed one of the shells they had fired, creating a huge explosion. Then, it aimed more beams at the soldiers, destroying more of their artillery meant for the enemy. The soldiers felt strong shock waves from the attacks and had to duck for cover. One soldier even saw his sleeve disintegrate from his arm when it was hit by the beam, though it didn't hurt his skin. The force of the energy wave knocked out the whole unit, and when they woke up, they felt sick, like they had been exposed to radiation. 2 of them later died, and the others were taken away from the area and told not to talk about what happened. Even years later, when they finally shared their story, it was clear that the memory of that strange and terrifying encounter haunted them. Number 5. Black holes in the Milky Way. In the center of our Milky Way galaxy, there's a gigantic black hole called Sagittarius A. This black hole is so huge that it's like squeezing more than 4 million suns into a tiny point called a singularity. Black holes like Sagittarius A are created when big stars die and collapse under their gravity, becoming super dense and swallowing everything around them, even light. Sagittarius A is really important because it helps shape our galaxy. It spins the Milky Way around with its strong gravity, helping make its spiral shape. Over billions of years, it has eaten up gas, dust, and even whole stars, getting bigger and more powerful. It's really hard to find black holes because they're small and have such strong gravity. In 2022, scientists were able to take a picture of Sagittarius A's shadow, which was a big deal. Other ways to find black holes involve watching how they affect things around them, like emitting X-rays or bending light. We're not sure what will happen to Sagittarius A and our galaxy in the future. Maybe the Milky Way will crash into another galaxy, like Andromeda, or maybe Sagittarius A will swallow up the whole galaxy. But these things wouldn't happen for billions of years, so we don't need to worry about them now. Whether there will still be life around to see what happens is something we just don't know yet. Number 6. The Hand of God Nebula. Out in the vastness of space, there's a stunning sight known as the Hand of God. This is a pulsar wind nebula, created when a huge star explodes, leaving behind a dense neutron star. This neutron star spins rapidly, sending out high-energy particles at incredibly high speeds. When these particles crash into the gas clouds around them, they make the gas glow in different colors, with blue being the brightest when seen in X-ray light. The Hand of God is enormous, stretching more than 200 light-years across. What makes it so captivating is its shape, which looks like a giant hand, complete with finger-like tendrils of glowing gas. Scientists are still trying to understand how these nebulae take on such unique shapes, but they think it might have to do with differences in the winds from stars or the density of the gas. In the Hand of God, one part of the palm has been getting fainter over time, which suggests that something is changing in the gas there. However, we're still not sure why it looks so much like a hand reaching out. It's one of those mysteries of space that keeps scientists curious and looking for answers. Number 7. The Ghost Nebula. Deep in the endless expanse of space, there's a confusing cloud called the Ghost Nebula, also known as H2136, floating more than 2,000 light-years away in the Puppis constellation. Unlike some nebulae that shine brightly on their own, the Ghost Nebula doesn't produce its light. Instead, it reflects the light from nearby stars. In this case, the Ghost Nebula reflects the light from young, hot stars in the NGC 2467 star cluster, giving it a spooky, ghostly glow. Special filters used by scientists reveal the true form of the Ghost Nebula, showing tangled patterns of dense knots in hydrogen gas, intricate designs, and dark shadowy columns made of cooler dust. People might see shapes like spectral guards and floating ghosts in these patterns, but scientists see the cold, scientific truth behind these ghostly images. As astronomers study the secrets of the universe, they uncover mysteries that are even stranger than the wildest stories. They discover how space and time can mix to create new worlds from the remains of old ones. Who knows what other ghostly wonders are waiting to be found in the vastness of space, ready for curious minds to reveal their hidden truths? Number 8. Roaming black holes. Out in the Milky Way, there are black holes that wander alone, like ghosts in the night. These solitary black holes are created when giant stars die and collapse. Unlike other black holes that have friends in binary systems, these wanderers float through space without being tied to any galaxies or star groups. Finding these lone black holes is hard because they don't have the disks of material or crash with other stuff that makes X-rays we can see. Instead, scientists have to wait for these black holes to bump into something else by chance. It's thought that most solitary black holes are left behind when binary systems split up, with the bigger black hole staying put while its lighter partner gets flung away. Scientists think there might be about 1,000 of these roaming black holes in the Milky Way. As our telescopes get better, we might find more of these mysterious objects. Even though the chances of bumping into one of these solitary black holes are slim, it's still possible over many, many years. But until we see some evidence of these encounters, we can only wonder about these invisible wanderers silently drifting through the darkness of space. Number 9. The alien abduction of Air Force Sergeant Levette. In the vast, empty lands of New Mexico, a terrifying encounter with aliens unfolded on October 10, 1956. Air Force Sergeant Jonathan Levette and Major William Cunningham were exploring the wilderness near Holloman Air Force Base to find debris from rocket tests. Suddenly, an interesting scream filled the air, leading Cunningham to rush to Levette's side. To his horror, Cunningham saw Levette floating in midair, caught in a beam of light coming from a glowing disc-shaped craft hovering above. Although the craft looked like a classic flying saucer, its surface showed signs of being made by machines, proving it was not from Earth. Cunningham could do nothing but call for help as the UFO quickly flew away, taking Levette with it. When authorities found Cunningham, he was in shock. Levette was missing for 3 days until a rancher found his mutilated body, drained of blood, 10 miles from where he was abducted. Government agents quickly took the body, sparking rumors of alien experiments on board the UFO. Despite years of investigation, no new information has come to light about what happened to Levette. Jonathan Levette's story is a tragic reminder that not everyone who explores the unknown comes back safely. His fate shows the dangers that exist beyond what we know and understand. Number 10. The Gorman dogfight over New Mexico. Since humans first looked up at the sky, confusing objects flying around have fascinated and puzzled people on Earth. Even with all our modern airplanes and technology, encounters with strange flying objects challenge what we know about flying. For Air National Guard pilot George Gorman, a normal training flight over Albuquerque, New Mexico in October 1948 turned into something unexpected. While flying over the city around 8:30 p.m., Gorman saw a fast, bluish-white light coming toward him. As he got closer, he could make out a round object with lights along its edges. He radioed the control tower and tried to catch up to the mysterious object. But no matter how fast he flew, the UFO was faster, reaching speeds of up to 600 miles per hour. During the encounter, the object changed colors and moved in ways that no normal plane could. Even though Gorman chased it for over half an hour, covering more than 100 miles, the UFO suddenly disappeared, leaving Gorman confused and unable to explain what he saw. Gorman's story got a lot of people interested and talking. Experts looked into it and couldn't find any simple explanations like Gorman being mistaken or the military testing new planes. Since there's no clear reason for the UFO, many think it's strong evidence that aliens are visiting our planet. Number 11. Navy pilots spot unidentified objects off California. Since humans started going into space, people have seen things flying around that they couldn't explain. Sometimes these sightings are thought to be mistakes, like seeing something natural or a new human-made machine. But when highly trained military people with fancy equipment see strange flying objects doing smart maneuvers, it makes us wonder who controls the skies and space. One interesting event happened on July 14, 2021, off the coast of Southern California, where a Navy destroyer was sailing. Two skilled fighter pilots flying FA-18 jets from the USS Omaha saw a long object floating 700 feet above the warship. When they got closer, the object quickly flew up and disappeared. What's surprising is that Omaha's high-tech targeting system identified the object as two separate vehicles flying together but without wings, propellers, or any visible way to fly. When the pilots checked back in the training area, they told an air controller on the USS Princeton cruiser about what they saw. Radar from the Princeton showed not just two, but up to 100 of the same objects hovering at 20,000 feet, moving faster than any known aircraft. Videos taken by the jets and the Princeton showed these long, featureless objects moving strangely before suddenly vanishing. Even though experts looked at the recordings closely, they couldn't explain what these objects were. The Pentagon's group that studies these things called them unidentified, strange phenomena after looking at data from different military tools. People have ideas about new ways to fly, or that maybe we're not as in control of space as we think. But until we have more proof, the real answer remains a mystery. Number 12. Astronauts spot a V-shaped UFO. People on Earth often argue about seeing strange things in the sky, but for astronauts in space, these sightings take on a whole new meaning. One evening in March 2005, astronaut Leroy Chiao and his crewmates on the International Space Station, ISS, had a remarkable experience that changed their view of things in the sky. As the ISS zoomed over Central Asia at an incredible speed of 17,500 miles per hour, 200 miles above the Earth, the astronauts had a unique view of the sky and the planet below. Around 8:45 p.m. Moscow time, Chiao floated onto the command deck to watch a sunrise from space. That's when his fellow astronauts noticed something strange, a cluster of lights forming an upside-down V shape passing in front of the constellation Hercules. These lights seemed to be moving along with the ISS. Chiao quickly grabbed cameras to record the lights. He estimated that each light was about 10 times brighter than the planet Venus, which is very bright in the night sky. The cluster of lights spanned a large area with uneven spaces between them. After about 45 seconds, the lights faded away quickly without changing their position. When the digital images were analyzed later, there were no signs of anything that could explain the lights as a known object from space or something made by humans. With the whole international crew seeing the same thing for a long time, simple explanations like reflections or illusions didn't seem to fit what they saw. Even years later, Chiao and his crewmates were sure that what they saw wasn't something ordinary or something they knew about. Their strong belief, based on their training and experience, can't be easily ignored. Maybe scientists somewhere have figured out what these lights were. If so, the people behind these strange sightings have chosen to stay silent. Until then, some lights in the sky will remain a puzzle. Number 13. Scientists spot a UFO formation over Texas. In 1951, something strange happened in the night sky that caught the attention of amateur astronomer Dr. W.I. Robinson and his group of teachers and graduate students from Texas Technical College. They had gathered in the backyard of Robinson's home in Lubbock to watch for shooting stars, but what they saw was far from ordinary. As the sun went down, they noticed a group of 15 to 30 bluish-green lights moving quickly from north to south in a V shape. Lewis Lake, who lived nearby, also saw the lights from several miles away. This unusual sight repeated 3 more times throughout the night, with other people witnessing it too. Instead of just watching, the Texas Tech group decided to investigate scientifically. They took photos and drew sketches to document what they saw. By using triangulation and calculating angles, they estimated the size, speed, and height of the formation. They found that the lights were arranged in pairs along straight arms spanning 850 feet across at their closest point. Even though Project Blue Book a government investigation into UFO sightings looked into the incident. They couldn't explain it. The Air Force suggested that the witnesses might have mistaken birds reflecting streetlights, but the Texas Tech Group disagreed. They knew what they saw wasn't birds or planes, and other logical explanations didn't match up with the facts. To this day, the Lubbock Lights incident remains a mystery. A historical marker where the sightings occurred reminds people that strange things can still happen in the Texas skies, just as they can anywhere else. It's a reminder that sometimes, even with all our technology and knowledge, there are still things we don't understand. Number 14. An astronaut spots a glowing green UFO. On a sunny day in May 1963, Air Force pilot Gordon Cooper embarked on a groundbreaking mission. He soared into Earth's orbit, circling the planet an astonishing 22 times during a marathon 34-hour journey. His mission? To explore how long stays in space affect the human body. But as Cooper neared the end of his historic flight, something extraordinary happened. As he piloted his Faith 7 capsule towards the California coast, Cooper noticed a strange sight. Glowing a peculiar shade of green, an object appeared in the distance, no bigger than a pinhead held at arm's length. Perplexed, Cooper watched as it remained motionless for a moment before zooming straight toward his spacecraft at a steady pace. Cooper wasted no time. He radioed tracking stations on the ground while keeping a close eye on the mysterious object through his periscope. Just as Cooper prepared to snap photos, the glowing object made a sudden turn, darting away and vanishing from sight. Radar operators on the ground briefly detected an unidentified blip, confirming Cooper's report. Despite the excitement of his discovery, Cooper's mission ended without further incident as he safely splashed down hours later. However, when Cooper tried to share his story with the public, military officials silenced him, refusing to allow him to discuss the strange encounter. Undeterred, Cooper spoke openly about his experience in later years. Despite suggestions that the object might have been a meteor or a reflection, Cooper remained convinced that what he saw defied conventional explanation. With his unwavering belief in the possibility of extraterrestrial life, Cooper's encounter remains a fascinating mystery, reminding us that there may be more to the universe than meets the eye. Number 15. Is there an alien city on the dark side of the moon? For years, people have wondered about the possibility of aliens living in our solar system, especially on our moon. One area that has captured the imagination is the mysterious dark side of the moon, the side that always faces away from Earth. During the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union in the 1950s and 1960s, when both countries were competing to explore space, some believed that there might be secret alien activity on the dark side of the moon. Back then, the images and data from space missions were sometimes kept secret, which added to the puzzle. In recent times, a man named Scott Waring claimed to have found evidence of an alien lunar city on the dark side of the moon. He studied satellite images and saw what he believed were artificial structures, like buildings, on the moon's surface. Waring suggested that NASA was hiding these structures by altering photos before releasing them to the public. However, NASA and many scientists have explanations for these mysterious images. They say that the strange shapes and shadows on the moon are often just natural formations or tricks of light. The moon's lack of an atmosphere also plays a role, creating optical illusions that can make things appear different from what they are. Despite these explanations, some astronomers think that there could be natural processes on airless moons and planets that create unusual landscapes, making it hard to tell what's natural and what's not. To truly solve the mystery of the dark side of the moon, many believe we need to send more missions there. With countries and private companies planning more moon landings in the future, we might one day uncover the truth about the dark side of our closest celestial neighbor, whether it's a secret alien city or just the wonders of nature. Until then, The idea of hidden alien life on the moon will continue to capture our imagination and fuel speculation. What do you think about these alien photos? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.